Morning, this is Brian. Today is Thursday, October 16th, 2025, and I'm back at Mission Trails again for a little bit of a hike today. Not a major one. It's like every time I plan something big to go to the mountains, I always lately just been faltering on that, so instead of staying home not doing anything, period, make sure I get out here, and I am on the visitor center loop. So I'm going to take this loop, and then I think when I finish wrapping this up, I might hop across and do the Oak Grove loop. I don't know if I'm going to be climbing any peaks today. Here's another entrance to the loop trail right there as well. Nice cool morning out here. I'd say it's probably about 45, 46 degrees. Nice cool morning. Coolest morning we've had in months, so it's nice for a change. I'm so used to it being really balmy and sticky, especially the last couple months, August and September. And we finally got our first nice cool morning out here. Take some time to enjoy that as I go down the visitor center loop. This part's the downhill part. It's nice to have nice cool weather in the morning, even though the next few days is supposed to shoot back up to some pretty hot weather. Got some California quail down there, but I can't really get good visuals on it, on the little bevy of quail. Might be able to see just barely scattering in the middle of the camera there. Here's a nice old multi-trunk coast live oak here. I've been on this loop before, but I think I might have bailed out at a different time when I did South Fortuna Mountain back in 2022. I don't remember this tree. This is an old one. Ooh, some more quail. Bunch of quail. Bunch of quail. Bunch of California quail. Look at this. Whole gang of them. Footage on camera won't be the best because they're a little bit off in the distance. There we go. Calipepla californica. I guess I just interrupted the bevy of them running about. But yeah, I meant to come here and show you. It's just, I'm wondering if this is all part of one tree. I'm wondering. Sometimes these trees can be multi-trunked. I don't know. I'm not sure, but each of these alone are pretty respectable sized trees. Yeah, this is beautiful right here. Quercus agrifolia, variety agrifolia, the main tree oak here. Yeah, I think what I did was, when I did South Fortuna Mountain, I did take the visitor center loop, but I cut out a little side trail to get back to Father Junipero Serra. So I did the full loop, but on a different portion of the track. Wow, that was a pretty interesting couple minutes there of ambling about. Yeah, those live oaks really. We do get some pretty old ones here at Mission Trails. Some of the oldest coast live oaks are here. Let's see. Going up the steps out of the little gorge. Let's see. Yeah, so I took one of these little bailouts. One of these, I think. Ended up hiking the rest of the way along Father Junipero that one time. see if I can find footage of that hike and see if I can make a cohesive one video instead of the 20 clips that I had for that hike. Oh, look at this. It's a pretty big spiny redberry. Oh, wow, this is a big one. Its roots go way down there. Gorgeous. That's a very beautiful specimen there. Yeah. So right there, what you see ahead, that's the little pointy part of what looks like the peak of South Fortuna, but that's not the peak. That is not the peak of South Fortuna. It's back behind it. From here, it looks like a big peak, but it's actually a part of a hogback ridge. But from here, it just looks so dramatic. Such a picturesque view. And then we have some fall color down here, it looks like. It's mid-October, so down in these cooler drainages, trees will change color a little earlier because it's cold air settles down. Because we're in a kind of a valley here. We're surrounded by higher terrain on all sides. We got some fall color there on Salix Gooding's Black Willow, and over there on Fremont Cottonwood, Populus fremontii, subspecies fremontii. The lighting's not quite the best yet because we're still kind of in a deep, misty dip right here. So let's see. It is breathtakingly beautiful out this morning. This cool air is very invigorating. It's nice to have cool air in the mornings for once. And it's very enjoyable out here. Yeah, Father Junipero Trail goes through that notch right there, as you see. Mission Gorge. Of course, Mission Gorge Road is in another gorge. Yeah. Very serene and peaceful out here. It's maybe about 20 after 7, maybe? Let's see. Yeah, it's 20 after 7 exactly. All right, well, I'm going to try to get a few pictures. This might be a little early to get some really deep, really good photographic footage, but I'll try to see what I can get here. And over there's the Mission Trails Visitor Center. Very good place to stop. Whether you're here for a big hike and want to cool off in the air-conditioned building or just check it out. Really good place. You can buy plant field guides. And there's even a research library. And I think you can even have there's even, I think, little conference rooms you can rent. It's pretty interesting. Do some research there. All right, enough yapping, some photos, and moving on. A little side note, here's a massive lemonade berry here. This thing is huge. Yeah, Roots integrifolia. This is a very tall, beautiful, pretty narrow. A lot of times these things will be sprawled out and covering a lot of real estate, kind of like the one back there. But yeah, this is a tall, beautiful Roots integrifolia right here. Pretty nice. And now, just not even a minute later, here's a large old growth sumac right here too. And Mission Trails has excellent sumacs here. Let's go keep following this trail and see what else I find. Oh, the Grinding Rocks Trail right here too. I think I'm going to take a side trip on this. Let's go take a look. I've been on this once before, but it's been a couple of years. There are some pretty large coast live oaks down in the canyon. And just a very beautiful beautiful scene. So let's go take a diversion. This isn't a formally structured hike. Like I said, I planned to go to the mountain. Was planning on going to the mountains yesterday, but failed horribly at doing so. So at least get something in. The soil's damp because we got some rain a couple days ago as well. On Tuesday we had some rain. Tuesday evening. Yeah, look at that. I told you, Mission Trails has a lot of great examples of older, relatively undisturbed specimens of sumacs. Laurel sumac, lemonade berry. It's a very beautiful trail here. We're getting down toward that oak grove. Yep. It's really nice to see some leaves changing color. It's my favorite season of the year. Oh yeah. I remember this little spot right here. Yeah, I remember this. First time I was here. Right underneath the laurel sumac, there's a nice chair to sit. Actual chair to sit if you want to kick it. Here's your little warning for western poison oak. And right next to it, there it is, changing color because it's autumn. Just a reminder not to grab in at any plant with leaflets of 3. All right, so I'm just about to hit the drainage. Very peaceful down here. Yeah, here we go. It's getting some more lovely coast live oaks. And parts of the San Diego River system just down here too. Yeah, there's some of these older oaks here. Well, here we are. I think this is where the grinding rocks are supposed to be, I guess. I don't think I've ever actually seen the grinding rocks. I've been on the trail. There's beautiful coast live oaks here. Just trying to look to see if I see any metates. Yeah, it's old oaks here. Yeah, especially this one here. This one's a really old one here. Beautiful old tree here. Chances are that these are probably stems from one tree, but it could be 2 trees that germinated close and connected. But as you see here, they are connected indeed. So I'm gonna go down there and see if I can find where the actual grinding rocks are located. Probably gonna be over here somewhere. I didn't see the actual grinding rocks. I have a feeling they're gonna be around here somewhere. Oh, we're gonna get close to the water too, which is really cool. Let's see if I can find them. I think I found one here. Here's one right here, actually. Yeah. looks like one right there. Usually they're a little more circular, but yeah, you can see that these were used for grinding seeds and stuff into mush. These are more oval shape. Just whatever you do when you're here, just be extremely respectful. Don't mess around with them. It's always good to take a close look at them, but just be respectful. They're more oval shaped than I'm used to seeing, but they definitely look like deliberate grinding rocks. Yeah, it might have been one there too. Some of this could have also been natural. So you're by the water. Really, really cool over here. Nice little oasis here. Just come here and relax, enjoy the soothing sound of the water. Get some pictures around here. We got some sandbar willow or Heinz willow here. Salix exigua variety Heinziana. Got some of that growing here. Of course, these taller ones are Goodings willows, of course. They pointed out earlier on, some of them are changing color down in the canyon. Up here, not as much. Got a lot of western ragweed growing here too. A lot of western ragweed here. Yeah, it's a very beautiful spot right here. Our trail is right here. I need to rejoin that and continue. Alright, so what we got going on over here? What type of shrub do we have growing here on the side of the trail? Kind of curious. I have my suspicion, but let me see. It's different than what I thought it was. I'll have to do a little research on this one. Looks like it's got radiate heads. Kind of looks like Bebia juncea variety aspera, but I don't remember them having radiate heads. This is very different. It's like a perennial woody-based subshrub. It's definitely Asteraceae. I'll have to do a little research on this one. I'm going to have to snap a few pics to check this out. Alright, so I remember this trail leads back up to Father Junipero, Sarah. As I'm going back up that way. Look at the hollyleaf cherry. Got some around here too. You find this plant near sea level. We're just a couple hundred feet above sea level here. And you find it at over 6,000 feet in our mountains. It's another plant with a wide ecological niche. And the spiny redberry's got some larger leaves than usual. I remember this big old rock up here. Yeah, I remember the big toyons over here. The massive boulder right next to it. This old toyon right here. It's seen better days, but it's still hanging in there. Beautiful, beautiful old toyon right here. Yeah, here's this massive boulder. We're not that far from Father Junipero, Sarah, right now. just looking up the south face of South Fortuna Mountain. Very impressive. Looks more like the southwest face, I should say, probably. Alright. Just about to exit this trail. Alright. Use these rock steps to get up out of the canyon. And there's one of the trailheads for the Climbers Loop. I think this is the south one. I don't think I'm going to take it today. I'm taking it twice. Let's see. I think this is the south one. Yeah, that's Pie Pie Peak up there. Alright. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take Father Junipero and I'm going to branch off one of those access trails and continue on the Visitor Center Loop. Alright. We'll see. We'll find an access trail, get back on it, descend towards the San Diego River proper again, and see where this adventure takes off. Alright, so I should be re-entering the Visitor Center Loop very soon. So I'll probably be retreading some of the same steps I did early on in this hike. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so I'm re-entering here. Gosh, the fragrance is so nice this morning. The fragrance of damp soil, humidity in the air, and the plants is great. It's a smell that's just so amazing. Alright, there's another access trail right there. That should take me back, but I'm not going back. Yeah, there's the old spiny red berry I pointed out, the big one. So I'm retreading some of the same bit I did before, but it won't be too much, just a little bit. Just wanted to make a side trip, at least pack in a few miles today. Just a brilliantly spectacular morning out here at Mission Trails Regional Park. So I've come in here time and time again. Sometimes I go a few weeks, maybe even a couple months without coming here, but then I always return. And it's an amazing place. And it's definitely a hiker's paradise. Everybody has his or her own definition of paradise. Mine is somewhere out in nature hiking. Coastal sage scrub, chaparral, conifer forest, oak woodland, and desert. And we have it all here in Southern California. We have most of the biomes just here in San Diego County alone, except for subalpine and alpine. So you just got to go up to the San Bernardino Mountains if you want Arctic alpine, the top of San Jacinto in Riverside County for Arctic alpine, and the upper subalpine zone by Mount San Antonio, aka Mount Baldy, at the top of LA County, to get above 10,000 feet and into the transition to the Arctic alpine climate. So, yeah, we might not have that here per se. We might not have lodgepole pines and stuff, here in San Diego County. Riverside, LA, and San Bernardino counties do have lodgepole pine forests. So you want that action, you know where to go. You just go. It's a little bit of a drive from San Diego, but it's still well within the Southern California. Well within Southern California. All right. So let's see. Should be joining relatively soon. I should be joining the junction again to get me to either take the Grinding Rocks, which I already just took, or the Visitor Center loop, which I'm going to continue to take once I get to that junction. We'll be heading this way. I'm trying to think if I should break off and do a side trip as well. I'll have to think about that when I'm getting towards that junction. Alright, see you on the next clip. Matter of 10, 20 seconds later, here's our junction. That's where I went. Did a little loop around. But I'm going to continue on this loop, the Visitor Center loop, and I'm going to descend towards the San Diego River. So down there, we got those old oaks. Now we're going to be in more predominantly cottonwood and willow, and even California sycamore, riparian forest and woodland down this way. Listen to the sound of it. I can hear some water rushing through the canyon, and I can hear the cottonwood leaves rustling in the breeze. That's a magical sound. That's why I never put earbuds in while I'm hiking, because I want to hear the nature. I don't need music when I'm hiking. A lot of people do, and if you do, just a safety precaution, have one ear with your earbud and one ear open so you can help be aware of your surroundings. So yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to go around for a stretch of this loop. It's going to cut through some wooded areas here and some toyon sumac shrubland, and there's going to be another really old coast live oak too along this trail. So I'll point that out. It's another old growth specimen. You'll definitely be made aware of that. There's a side trail here. This is probably not legal, but I'm just going to go over here. Yeah, probably not even a trail. Even so, stay on the trail at Mission Trails. They're really, really big about not wanting cross-country travel to occur. It's Burkelia californica, California bricklebush in bloom. Plants are supposed to be fragrant at night to attract pollinators. I can't really smell anything else, so maybe at night. Again, another reason for off-trail travel is not only for habitat degradation, but avoiding getting caught in that. We're about western poison oak. It's almost leafless for winter. So yeah, look at this massive lemonade berry. This thing is massive. Look how big this one is. The size of a tree. Yeah, that's why I love this area. Big lemonade berries. These are huge. Almost as tall as some of these young coast live oaks. A lot of clematis and poison oak in there. All right. So, I want to mention, you probably haven't seen videos of my actual gardens and plants over the last 3 or 4 years because I hadn't really been doing a lot of horticulture at home. Well, that is starting to change because I'm actually growing my own native plant garden again. And I've had a couple plants that I saw left over from when I lived in Orange County, where I had a patio. I lived in an apartment. I had a patio full of hundreds of plants. Now I'm starting to rebuild my garden now. I'm actually putting stuff in, shallow-rooted plants, coastal sage scrub plants. So might do a video series highlighting my gardening again. I actually ordered some plants in Las Pielitas. It's a nursery based in Santa Margarita in San Luis Obispo County. Nice coast live oak. And I have ordered some white sage, California sagebrush, skunk brush, buckwheat, even some monkey flower. So I had planted about 50% of them in the ground. I'm gonna probably make a small use one of my planters, empty planters, for maybe my skunk brush population. So I have about 2 or 3 of those, and we'll see how that goes. And that skunk brush will change color in autumn. All right, well, so I'm continuing on the loop through the wooded part, and I'll be out in the open, a little bit more out in the open fairly soon. And again, be ready momentarily. I'll be finding this large coast live oak. It's got several trunks all sprawled out. Crazy looking, beautiful tree. So keep a lookout for that, and I'll keep you posted on my progress as well. I told you it wasn't going to be that long before I met the old oak tree. Well, here it is. Old, sprawled out Quercus agrifolia variety agrifolia. Low bridge. Yeah. Yeah, I remember this. Sometimes these trees just sprawl out all crazy like monster scrub oaks on steroids. But nope, this is a Quercus agrifolia variety agrifolia tree oak. Although I've seen a few scrub oaks get about as tall as this, but never seen a scrub oak with trunks like that. I've seen them get some pretty decent sized stems on them, but no, nothing like this. Yeah. 300 years old. Cool. All right. Got some pictures. Yeah, I get the impression this area was quarried. It looks like it's all been exposed by quarrying, because I know quarrying activities have occurred in this area, and still do a little further up on Mission Gorge Road. So this area must have been quarried. What it did do is expose some beautiful rock, and also the lack of activity has allowed shrubs and trees to cling to the side of that by germinating in the cracks of the rocks and little bits of soil in between, making a pretty interesting landscape. Yeah, see that peak I was pointing out that looked like South Fortuna itself, that's what it looks like from this angle. It's just a huge drop off from the ridge, so you can tell it's not a big huge peak, but it sure looks like one. Eyes can play tricks on you out here in nature, and I'm all for it because it looks beautiful. A big pointy promontory looking bit from you see from the visitor center. Well, that's what it looks like from over here, further away from it. So yeah, pretty interesting. Yeah, that's pretty nice stuff out here. So I love coming back here time and time again. Yeah. And then we got a nice stately California sycamore right there. Platanus racemosa. they're usually much later to start changing leaf colors than the cottonwoods. Cottonwoods usually are a little bit earlier than the sycamores. All right. Enjoying this peaceful path. Eventually, I'm going to run across the San Diego River crossing, and I can start closing out the loop. Or if I want to make a side trip, that's a possibility as well. So we'll see what my mind tells me. My mind's telling me to possibly make a pretty decent side trip, so we'll see. Other than that, catch you on the next clip, and we'll see my game time decision. Alright, so as I had mentioned, this is pretty much game time decision. So the visitor center loop continues up this way. It'll loop back to the visitor center. In fact, let's see what the distance is from here to the visitor center. Don't remember off the top of my head. Let's see what it says. I don't remember how far I've come. Like I said, I did a little extra distance on the Grinding Rocks Trail. Visitor center. Well, I've done about just under a mile just on the visitor center loop. So I've done a little over a mile so far. Guess that's not a river crossing over there. I guess we're not supposed to cross over here. So I think what we're supposed to do is take the middle path. We're supposed to take the middle crossing here, I think. Yeah, I remember doing this last time. So I guess I don't want to have to rescue people from the water if the water goes crazy. Let's see. Huh. Hold up. Look at all that foam. Huh. So are we supposed to not be able to cross the river at all? Oh, this is a shame. That sign wasn't here last time. This is weird how crazy this channeling of cement is here. Yeah, because I remember you go that way to get to the trail. Well, so much for that. No, not that Avery's not it either. Wow. That's a shame. Last time that other sign wasn't there. Oh boy. Well, that was my... Oh, Western Goldenrod. Hold up. Oh, look at that. I just did a spotlight on this a couple weeks ago. This is Eothelmia occidentalis. Bloom here in mid-October. Yeah, so we have Western Goldenrod here too. Never been over in this area in October, so I've never noticed it. It's a pretty easy plant to miss until you see it blooming. Yeah, Western Goldenrod. I just did a spotlight at the end of September on this plant. And we got it growing here, right along the San Diego River. Yeah, golden yellow flower heads. That is exquisite. Yes, we got it growing here too. It's a pretty easy plant to miss. mixing it with tangles of grasses and shrubs and other herbaceous plants. Well, that's a shame. I was really hoping to get up there. I was really hoping to get up to the... I was going to try to go for South Fortuna Mountain. So this whole thing is closed off then. Well, this area's always had an area closed sign. Wow, that's a shame. I was really hoping to get across so I can get up to the top of South Fortuna today. Wow. Well, so much for that. Kind of disappointed, actually. I was hoping to climb a peak today. So I guess I'm just heading back to the visitor center, and maybe I'll hit the Oak Grove loop. I was actually looking forward to getting up there. I guess I'll just have to either hit it from the East Fortuna, probably East Fortuna area, I guess, or Claremont Mesa Boulevard, or any of those spots. That's a shame. I remember this little spot. We got a little water cascade. This feeds into the San Diego River. Yeah. Yeah, I was checking this out. I was kind of disappointed. I was hoping to climb South Fortuna today. Kind of disappointed, to be honest with you. Would have been nice. But yeah, this little area right here, so charming. I like this little spot. If I come in here time and time again. Like I said, you can find your own oasis if you are willing to look for it. And you do get some little oases. It's generally a pretty dry climate. Like I said, it just depends on your mind, how you're able to appreciate all this stuff here. I'm not sure exactly from whence this emanates, but it does feed down to the San Diego River, down where I was just visiting a few minutes ago. Got a picture or two over here before I start going back up the trail. So I'm just a little bit above where I showed you the little cascade. Showed at least, this will be at least the third time I've shown it on video. Here's more channelized. Down there, it's partially channelized because what looks like a lot of rocks is actually really rough looking cement. It kind of looks like rocks. Pretty interesting. Over here it's just channelized. It's kind of weird. So we're climbing up. Really kind of bummed out about that road that cross being closed. But then I saw that western goldenrod, and then I was bugging again. So we're coming out of the canyon. Temperatures are rising because we're climbing out of the cool canyon bottom. Look at this coastal sage scrub. So beautiful. Punctuated by woody laurel, sumac, and lemonade berry. Yeah. I was going to try to go up that towards Soycott Valley and then try to get up on the South Fortuna, link up with the South Fortuna Trail. Very disappointed. Not able to do that today. Extremely disappointed, to be honest with you. Because the sign says keep out. I do have a sense of adventure, but I'm not trying to get in trouble either. Alright, see you on the next clip. So here I am, not that far from Mission Gorge Road. You can see all the houses and businesses over there. I'm at another trail junction. I'm just going to take the Deerfield Crossing link back up. Just so I can get some more mileage in today. So I would love to eventually get back up to the Fortunas, but I'm gonna have to start earlier and start from an alternative trailhead. So I'm on the Deerfield Loop right now. I've done this trail before too, just a little over a year ago, and I actually did cross the San Diego River. I didn't see that sign in the middle of the middle there. There wasn't a sign there at that time. Maybe it's always been closed and I just didn't realize that stretch was too. Like I said, I try to be on my best behavior when I'm out in these spots, because to get a ban from this place would really, really hurt. Let's go ahead and take this very lush path. Some rogue Canary Island date palm right here. Yeah. These riparian trails are pretty nice too. There's another Canary Island date palm right here. All right, it's about to get super muddy, so just be careful here. Oobly. Yeah. I wonder what this used to be. Oh, this must have been a pine tree. Looks like there are old eaten cones on here. This has been probably an Aleppo pine or something. Interesting. All right. We're actually about to hit some pavement right here. Yeah, I remember, like I said, I've been on this trail once before too, back in September 2024. I did a pretty decent multi-loop tour up to some random unnamed hills in Mission Trails. So I should be at Deerfield pretty soon. Try to loop around and so I can at least make another loop today. I was actually looking forward to doing some climbing today, but I'm not going to restart. Already on something, maybe we'll continue on it. So we're just about at Deerfield Court, where there's a little, I don't know if it's a water facility or something over there. Okay. So what I could do is I could either go around this way or I can go around this way. First came here, I parked at Deerfield, which is just over here, and went around, linked over here, and went out that way. Ended up right near Corte Playa Catalina. So I guess what I'll do is I'll do a clockwise loop to get back to that junction, and then I will dip down into back on the trail to get to the visitor center loop, and then I'll go ahead and go there and then go back to the visitor center area and pick up the Oak Grove Trail across Father Junipero Serra, so I can at least put in a little mileage today. All right, we keep going up this way. The actual Deerfield Court, I actually parked over here that first time. This is Deerfield Court. Maybe a room for a couple of cars to park. Deerfield Pump Station is what this is called. But I parked right on the side here and took this trail. Yeah, I just did a lot of loops and stuff to get where I was trying to go. So last time I went up there, Hill 787. But I guess I'm not supposed to cross the San Diego River, period. Alright. Alright. Oh. Okay, here's the trail. Here's a Deerfield loop. It's another 1.5 mile loop. Let's go ahead and take this. Yeah. BMX site, Deerfield Crossing Trail. Yeah. Okay. Let's do this. What are we growing here? What is this? Huh. I don't even know if it's alive, technically. It almost looks like a dead palaveri tree. Alright, so here we go on the loop. We'll go ahead and go along this, and I'll keep you posted on what I might find. As we're going up the Deerfield Loop, starting to get views towards the west, towards the mesas, the mesa portion of San Diego. Yeah, just nice views over here. Starting to open up. Some really good views up there on 787. Been up there 3 times already. But you can see where there's a lot of quarry work still being done on the south face of Hill 787. You can see that's all quarried. Wonder how far up the hill they're gonna go. Hopefully they don't eat up into Mission Trails, because I hate to lose all that. cool to get up to South Fortuna. Looks so inviting. I mean, I could always get back in my car and drive and do it, but I would have been well on my way there by now if I hadn't gone this way. Speaking of the Fortunas, right at the top of this little rise here, you got a really good view of both of them. On the right is South Fortuna. In the middle is the aptly named Fortuna Saddle area. Can't actually see the actual saddle from here, but you can see approximately where it is. And of course, on the left is North Fortuna, which is about 200 feet higher than South Fortuna. So North Fortuna wins out on the prominence of those two. But they're both really cool summits. Get some good views from both of them. And a lot of people prefer North Fortuna over South Fortuna, but I like them both because they're a little bit more on the challenging side. All right, here's the BMX site right here. Yeah. So I was saying, they're fairly challenging to hit. They're definitely well into the moderate category when it comes to hikes, but very beautiful. Very beautiful. And this is where the BMX bikes go. Very interesting. Almost, you can see all those little ramps and stuff like that where the bikes can go and people on their bikes can have fun. And here's looks like another old quarry site right here that I guess is not being used anymore. You could definitely tell this area was ripped apart. But you can see the native plants. A lot of this is California bricklebush and California sagebrush and stuff's taken back over, thankfully. There's even some chaparral yucca growing down there too, which is really cool. Maybe I'll go down and check this out just for the heck of it. I'm just gonna go down this way and see, just take a look around. I don't really have a BMX bike or whatever, but can't hurt to check it out and see up close. It looks like the bike ramps are closed until it dries out. Keep seeing close until dry. Don't ride when wet. So yeah. So you're down in this little bowl. Kind of neat kind of interesting topography here. Just kind of want to explore what this area is like. It's kind of interesting. Nice lemonade berry. Here's the track right here. It's called the Tot Track, huh? For the younger crowd. Just want to see what it looks like down here. I passed this area, but I've never actually been down in this little, looks like a crater or something. Just want to see what it looks like up close. Pretty neat. No horses. Guess that's a one-way. Oh, I think this is another way out right here. Sorry about the sun glare. They trimming these shrubs here too. Laurel sumac. This is interesting. Almost looks like a crater. A little shade ramada, series of shade ramadas up there. firecrackers. Interesting. Kind of interesting. If I were a kid who rode bikes, I'd probably be into this. Cool to have nature surrounding you. Coastal sage scrub plants. Alright. Could have gone up that ramp, but I kind of want to get the full mileage on this loop here, so I'm going to go back up to the top of that rise and then just continue the loop. That handsome laurel sumac right there. Alright, so climb back up that. Then I'm going to bear left, continue the loop. I'll see you up the way. Alright, so I'm back at the top of this. I'm going to keep going this way. At the top of this small hill. So scenic here. That's why I like this park. It's just so scenic. Just so scenic. Some pretty impressive views. You don't even have to be on top of the peaks to get the best views. You should be on top of the peaks, but it is just so incredibly beautiful. From these little small rises, just a small rise can reveal how beautifully complicated the terrain is here. A lot of hills, valleys, and peaks. So much more fun like that. All right. Down by Mission Gorge. Look at that. And from this small vantage point, it's good views down there. Go down towards the shade ramadas. Should be just a little bit below us, actually. I think. Yeah, I can see him just down there. Yeah, the reason why I went back up the same rise I descended was just so I can at least get the full mileage on the actual trail, so I could feel like I completed it. So now, like I said, I could have just easily just come up this way, but I just wanted the extra steps, that's all. Because we got a little picnic and shade ramada area over here where you can take a brag and soak in the views. Maybe parents are up here watching their kids do their bikes or watching their friends. Yep. Some nice shady ramadas up here. You can enjoy the views. See, there's that ramp I went and descended to get down to the base of the bowl where all the action occurs when it's open. I'm sure right now kids will be going to or in school right now, so I don't think they'd be out here this. But you know, adults come here and do the more challenging ones as well. Pretty cool. All right, I'm gonna start moving my way back up and continuing on with this loop. All right. So I'm just about back at the Deerfield Loop Trail. That's from whence I came. And this is where I'm heading now to keep working on the loop. I still technically have not closed out the visitor center loop. Still haven't closed it out. Once I close that out, then I'll have done 2 loops? No, 3. I've already done 3 loops. A really tiny one for the grinding rocks and Father Junipero Serra back to the visitor center loop. I'll have finished this loop back to the Deerfield Crossing Junction, and then I will have completed the loop through the visitor center, and then potentially doing the Oak Grove loop. And I'm going to try to do the longest of that one so I can cover more ground. So we're descending. Oh yeah, I remember this stretch here. Parts of this is asphalt, believe it or not. It's paved. I remember seeing some larger black sage plants growing along here. I did this back in September 2024. There's a lot of black sage along here. That's one plant I don't have. Tried to order it from Las Palitas Nursery, but they were out of stock at the time. But maybe I'll just try growing it on my own, like I used to do. Mostly just grow plants by myself. And right now, I'm trying to root Coast Cholla stems that I found on the side of a road. Found some Coast Cholla stems that had already been broken off, so I don't rip the pieces off the plants themselves. Found some on the ground, and I'll see if they root pretty soon or not. Hopefully soon. I also germinated earlier this year. I germinated Tucker oak, Quercus John tuckeri, the scrub oak you find out in the desert side chaparral, on the desert side of the mountains, or the far interior side. So I have Tucker oak seedlings too. So when I go back to doing plant updates, I'll be sure to show you those. Oh, look at these monumental lemonade berries. Of course, the Tucker oaks, where I live, they don't allow us to plant big shrubs and big trees with deep roots because of the electrical grid. So I'm keeping them in pots. Maybe I can make bonsai out of them. But yeah, I'm getting distracted here. Yeah, distracted by this massive lemonade berry right here. Yeah, these are pretty serious plants. They're pretty serious specimens here. But yeah, I still have my desert agaves that I've had for years. I still have my desert agaves. So eventually I have to put those in the ground too. I had some incense cedar seedlings that popped up, but they didn't last very long, unfortunately. I germinated some incense cedar seeds, but I left them in the refrigerator too long. So when I planted them out, they weren't really vigorous. Lessons to be learned. Alright, so I'm descending back towards the Deerfield Loop junction to close out this loop. This will be the second loop I've closed out today. And then I'll work on closing out my third loop when I get back to the visitor center loop. And I'll open up another loop or 2 on the Oak Grove. Maybe I'll do both the short and the long. Maybe if I can make a figure 8 crossing out of that. See how that works out. Alright. I'll see you down by the junction again. Just here a few seconds later. I have finished up the loop. Yeah. Why did it say it was a 1.5 mile loop? It was only a 0.55 mile loop. I knew that was a mile and a half. I was going to say, that was just barely half a mile. One of the signs I could have sworn it said 1.5 mile loop. I was thinking, okay, hey, let's tack this on, baby. Let's do some mileage today, but so I'm heading back down this section here, which will take me back to the visitor center loop, back towards the visitor center area on Father Junipero, and then I'll cross and get started on the other loop, the oak grove. See how the oak trees are doing over there. So let's go ahead and descend towards this canyon again. Yeah, I swear I knew I wasn't tripping. It was not a mile and a half. It was only half a mile. 0.55, just a little over a third. Oh well. All right, here we go. Time to go through the muddy canyon bottom here again. Do some stone stepping. All right. See you along the way. See you when I'm back on the other trails. Kind of glad this is an out and back portion. Here we got some marsh fleabane right here, some Plucea odorata variety odorata. Still some blooming on it. Nice, pleasantly aromatic plant. Little hint of sagebrush, but also a hint of sweetness. Even sweeter than lavender when you rub the leaves. Yeah, Plucea odorata variety odorata. Okay. Veritable wonderland here. Very beautiful here. There might be a few spots that some people might not be as crazy about. Some people, but me, I just appreciate just being out and rambling and ambling, so it's all good to me. I just like to appreciate the fact that I'm out and doing what I like to do, doing what I love to do on the trails here. All right, should see you by the next junction pretty soon. All right, we're back at the junction. So got about a half a mile left to get back to the visitor center. I'm almost at the Jackson staging area, but I'm going to cut through that along the trail, or cut near it. So yeah, down this way, down in the canyon, is where I found that little rivulet with the little miniature cascades. So, yeah, almost at the Jackson Avenue staging area, and I'm going to cut through that and start working my way back towards the visitor center. Get ready to start another little loop when I'm over there. So I'm just about back at Jackson Avenue staging area, the intersection of Jackson and Mission Gorge. That's from once I just came. So now, just northwest of the parking lot for Jackson staging area, it's the Visitor Center Loop Trail continuing on the backside. Nice laurel sumac. All right, so this will bypass the Jackson staging area on my way back to the visitor center in just under half a mile. Okay, see you on the next clip. I need to get a few photos. All right. Just about near at the back end of the visitor center. So, guess what I'll do is cut on through and then hop across to the Oak Grove loop. Haven't been over by that in a while. So I'm trying to get at least some miles in today. A pretty darn easy hike. There's some elevation change, ups and downs, but still a pretty easy hike. Enough to give you a little bit of a workout, get you moving, get you breathing a little bit more heavily, but nothing really super extraordinarily difficult. Let's talk about Coast Cholla earlier. Here's one small one right here, or two small ones. Right there, and right there. Cylindropuntia prolifera, Coast Cholla. Hoping to be having some of those growing soon. They might be rooting, I just don't want to dig them out and find out. Oh, some more Coast Cholla right here too. And of course, Hespero yucca whippley. And another Hespero yucca whippley, the old chaparral yucca. Alright. Great view, grandstand view of Quaipai Peak. Of course, when you're on Quaipai, it's even a bigger, more grandstand view, but good view of it. Very handsome hogback shape peak. There's another way to get up to that hill there, or at least a legal way. Like I said, I'm not trying to be stupid and break the rules on a place I really appreciate visiting. I mean, I could do it stealthily and undetected, but I just respect this place too much. See, I'm definitely very much a lover of climbing peaks, but I'm also trying to be respectful. So we're just about out by the visitor center. We're really close to the Oak Grove Loop. So I'm just about finishing up the third loop. It's the first loop I started, but it's the third that I finished. And I'm going to hop across for maybe a fourth and maybe even a fifth over by the other side here. Just across the road is the Oak Grove Loop trailhead. Go ahead and do that next. All right. Okay. So I'm about to cross right over here momentarily. So that's where I entered, right over there. Went all around and around and around. Grinding rocks. Probably Junipero. Yeah. Pretty interesting. So I'm gonna go ahead and cross over here. Okay. So here's the Oak Grove Loop. Now there's an area where they match together. So let's see, get a configuration of it. inner loop. All right, so this is a very, very confusing looking loop. I want to try to do both if I can. So the outer loop, somehow I got to figure out a way to connect the dots somehow. Well, I'll figure it out. Always try to do the longer ones. All right, let's move on. So on the Oak Grove loop, we're going to see 3 main species of oaks. One not native and the other's native. This is the non-native holly oak, Quercus ilex, from the Mediterranean region. This is the native coast live oak, of course, Quercus agrifolia, variety agrifolia. I don't remember if there are any scrub oaks here. That could make it 4 or so, and I'll show you the other oak, which is not really common here in Mission Trails, but when I find it, which I will along this hike, I'll show that to you too. But yeah, we got a lot of holly oak on this side here. Yeah, these are holly oaks. These are not native. But they are oaks. They're not even super closely related to any of our native oaks. They're a completely different group. We've got acorns on it. Quercus ilex. Those are the acorns developing on Quercus ilex. Never tried germinating holly oak. I don't get the impression it's extremely difficult, because I see them pop up quite a bit. Another view of Quaipai Peak. All right. It's been a while since I've been on this loop. All right, here's the other native. You'll see more of it down in the ravine, but this is an Engelmann oak, Quercus engelmanni. Say coast live oak is a red oak. Engelmann oak is a white oak. The holm oak or holly oak, I think is in the section Ceres, but I'm not sure. Different section. Or it might be in a different section than that too. I have to remember. Nice views of Mission Gorge up here. Just very nice, pleasant, easy stroll here. Just to tack in more mileage today. All right, I have to get some photos from this vantage point. One thing that's really cool about this trail is we go down into this ravine where we got some pretty lush riparian vegetation. Riparian, aka streamside vegetation, because there's a small trickle that goes through the bottom of it, which is very, very beautiful to see. We'll be pointing that out very soon. Let's see. Let me see here. Oak Grove South Trailhead. Let me see if I can do a figure 8 out of this. I'm going to take this one. Try to see if I can do a figure 8 out of this. I think I can. Another holly oak right here. Because I don't think this is going to go into, this is not going to go into that ravine where there's some beautiful oaks, some willows, and There's a little canyon at the base of this small knoll that's very scenic. So, and this is the top of the knoll over here. It's not like a big mountain or anything. So what I want to do is I kind of want to see if I could try to make a figure eight out of this so I can get the full experience. So this is the really short inner loop. And then I'm going to try to connect and do the outer loop. So I think I'm going to do a figure eight, I think. I hope. I'm not sure. We'll see how this works out. I'm kind of interested myself, hoping to do this. All right, let's see how this works out. This is a weird loop configuration. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk along probably Powell for a short distance, and I think there's another trail access point up that way. Let's gate it off a little further down the road. So I'm going to try to see if I can work that in somehow, because I'm at the end of it now. Let's see. Well, let's see how this works. I guess it's open until it's this trail closed, so go ahead and go along this for a little bit and see what happens. And I found the other part of the loop. This is the Oak Grove Loop North. So I found it. Just a little short walk down Father Junipero Serra. Nice Coast Choya right here too. Pretty cool. This should lead me underneath that craggy hill right there, down through some beautiful woodland. So be on the lookout for that pretty soon on this video. We'll keep on climbing. We'll see. Alright, so we're just about moments away from entering this beautiful, short stretch of this beautiful little woodland down here in this little ravine underneath this little mound, this little beautiful little hill that I've always admired. Just about ready to scrape the edge of the woodland and then go through a really short portion of it. Beautiful coast live oaks here. And also some other riparian vegetation and even some sumacs. But I did point out a small specimen earlier, but I'm going to be stepping up to a much larger Engelmann oak. I know I pointed this oak out a couple times on my previous videos, but I'm going by it again. Therefore, I'm going to show off this beautiful, decent sized one right here, Quercus engelmanni. So a decent sized specimen here. In front of it, this is a coast live oak. You can tell the difference in the leaves. Quercus agrifolia variety agrifolia, coast live oak. And the bluish grayish green cast of Quercus engelmanni, the Engelmann oak. They're both in two separate lineages. Coast live oak again being a red oak, and Engelmann oak being a white oak. Here's a smaller Engelmann oak branch. But yeah, here's the Engelmann oak tree right here. The leaves on this Engelmann oak are quite large. Quite large on this one. Probably gets a lot of moisture down in this canyon. There's actually, it looks like another one in there too. I think there are a couple of, well, I think it's the main tree. Engelmann oak's not really common here at Mission Trails, unfortunately. generally got to go further inland to really see a lot more of them. The inland foothills and valleys. So we're just about to enter the little ravine. See if I can get a better angle. Here's another holly oak right here. But yeah. So I'm entering pretty decent sized coast live oaks over here. I told you, you're going to be plunged down into some beautiful shade. And here's an older coast live oak. Military jet. Ooh, that's loud. And of course, western poison oak growing out of the trunk of the tree, which is not an oak, and it's not related to oaks. It's in the sumac family. Here's some other oaks right here, one of which is unfortunately passed on. A couple of them. Oh, it's damp over here. Yeah, nice little spot right here. Sometimes there's water through here. It's very peaceful here. Time for a few pictures of this before I move on. Love this peaceful spot. There's western scrub jays going crazy. Ooh, an acorn woodpecker. Just on the other side of this. I should be zooming the other way. There's an acorn woodpecker on the other side of that branch. Yeah, right up there. A western scrub jay flying around. But yeah, Melanopus morphoformissivorus. Barely see it. Maybe you can see it's poking out. Right there on that branch. It's an acorn woodpecker. Flying off now. Wow. I love this little spot right here. I always make time to stop here and just relax. Yeah, there's another Engelmann oak over here. That right there is that's a smaller Engelmann oak right there too. Mixed in with these mostly coast live oaks here. This little spot kind of reminds me of some of those canyons in the Santa Ana Mountains in Orange and Riverside counties when you're going through like Morel Canyon, Bear Canyon, some of those other canyons, San Juan Canyon. We got these hills and ravines cut by creeks, and then you got slopes of oaks, and then of course brush and chaparral above it. There's another Engelmann oak back there too, I think. I think behind this coast live oak, yeah, there's another small Engelmann oak. It's hard to see on camera, but I can kind of see the top of the foliage there. That's an Engelmann oak. Well, this is a coast live oak. So we got another Engelmann oak back there too, which is really cool. I really love this spot right here. This spot is so peaceful. So peaceful over here. And just think, in 2 weeks I'll be on vacation. Going out there, so it'll be my traveling vacation where I go out and explore. I'm almost tempted to go back to the Sierra Nevada too. Very tempted. A pretty big red willow in here too. Pretty darn big one. Across. There's just a little trickle of water here. Little tiny trickle of water. Watch out for poison oak too, of course, because it is here. Yeah, I remember the wah. The wah. Made from plant stems and branches and leaves. Pronounced awa. Just look at this. Yeah, there's a pretty big red willow in here too. This is a red willow. It's a pretty big one too. It's got some large trunks in there. Traditional kumeyae house. Little kumeyae shelter. That is so neat. Okay. Let's make sure I don't step on any little water-loving critters. Alright, so I'm on the other side now. A little peaceful spot right there. Going up on the outer loop now. Very nice little area. Here's the outer trail. Guess I'll go this way. Alright. So where did this come from then? Okay. I guess this is where I make the figure 8. I guess. So I'll just keep going up this way then. Alright, outer trail it is. Alright, so this is the outer loop now. There's that small hill right in front of me right here. That's where all the oaks and everything are. All the Engelmann oaks and coast live oaks and willows are hanging out. This is the outer trail here. Really good views of Quaipai Peak. And there's Powell's Peak over there too. Very interesting out here. You hear those fire jets from Marine Corps Air Station Miramar. Those things get loud. So it's nice to be on the outer loop. I don't know if I've ever actually taken the outer loop before. I don't know. I've cut through that willow oak grove. So this is not as familiar. We'll see. Starting to go down towards a little dip over here too. Yeah, there's some water down there probably. It's another wooded area. Oh, it's so fragrant out here. There's some white sage. Yeah, buddy. Salvia apiana. Last week I saw it at 6,000 feet. Like 6,030 feet in elevation. Yeah, I figured Mount Laguna would be the first place I'd ever see it that high up. Previously at Mount Laguna, I've seen it up as high as 5,700 and 5,800 feet. Or close to that. But I finally saw it above 6,000 feet. Now, if only you ever find sugar bush above 6,000 feet, Mount Laguna would be the most likely place to find that. So I'm hoping that eventually happens. I will be keeping my eyes out. Believe me. This outer loop is a little more open. There's a spot of it where it looks like it's kind of being restored. And the parts of it edge near this little ravine over here. So the diversity of habitats There's that hill again. So I think I'm about to make a figure 8. I think I'm going to make a figure 8, return back to the original trailhead, and that'll come close, wrapping up this hike. It's been a very pleasant, relatively short day out here. Put in a few miles. I don't know exactly how many yet, but probably close to the 3, probably close to 3, maybe 3.5, I don't know. Not too sure yet. All I know is it's a very fragrant morning out here, and I'm glad to be able to experience it. Very nice, pleasant day. So what I'm going to do is I'm back at the junction again. See, what I did is, I think I figure 8'd this already, kind of. Or did something. So I'm back at this junction. See, when I came from down there, that's where all the oaks and that little wooded area is. And I came over here, went up that, went around, came back here. So I'm going to go this way. So I just completed another loop. This is the 4th or 5th loop I've completed today. Very small loops mostly. So I just closed out this little miniature loop. And I'm going to go up this way. There's that craggy hilltop over there. That's where all those willows and oaks are down there. Just very pleasant morning out here at Mission Trails. And I'll see what my next updates. Here's an inner trail I took earlier. So we up Punipurasera to join the other trailhead, the North Trailhead. Now I'm back where I was coming originally from this way. So I'm going to be completing a figure 8. A very weird looking figure 8, I think. With an out and back kind of segment. I want to experience this entire trail today. I want to experience the whole thing from A to Z. So I did kind of a really awkward figure 8 over here, and now I'm making it almost like an out and back, because this is the way I came up towards me, and I'm hiking back towards where I originally entered the Oak Grove loop trail. And the reason why I did this is so I could take the inner loop and the outer loop, so I can get both in. So I wanted to experience both today. I guess I wanted to add a little bit of mileage. Birds are singing. It's just so peaceful out here. Big little Fortuna Mountain. South Fortuna, North Fortuna is hidden way off from there. Very beautiful day out here. It's going to get a little warm later, probably in the upper 70s. Should be close to average for this time of year. And then next 3 or 4 days are going to get quite a bit warmer, and then it cools down to a little below average next week, I think, just in time for my hike, next week's hike. Very pleasant day out here. You can never go wrong with Mission Trails. You can walk the same trails multiple times. I've done the Oak Loop a couple times. I've done the Visitor Center Loop before. I've done the BMX and Deerfield Loop. I've done the Grinding Rocks Trail. But I never get tired of it. I love it out here. It's nature that's really close to my house. There's that big hill, or that little smaller hill above the visitor center. Visitor center, which is right down there. Let's see what time it is. It's almost 9. Huh? It's almost 9:45. So I was out here for a good. I started about 7:20-ish this morning. So yeah, I've been out here for close to 2.5 hours. It's not bad. I haven't really stopped a lot to take a lot of breaks, but I have been filming a lot, so I do stop to point out things a lot. I'll put in a few miles probably. I'll definitely look into it on the map. I should be able to map this out pretty well. Just remember that even though this is a loop trail, I did go up this way to begin a really awkward shaped loop. So I'll have 2 tracks going this way and that way. And unfortunately, I'm just about at the end of this one. Another peaceful day out here in my beloved Mission Trails. Nice hill. I like that hill. You can see where I'm parked, right at this little pull out right there. My car's right behind the shrub, which unfortunately and sadly for me means coming at the end of another hike, but I do have a little something to take care of, and then the rest of the day I'm just going to rest it for another torturous week at work, to which I am not looking forward right now. Looks like the kids are going to get a little treat today. I never went on a field trip to Mission Trails when I was in elementary school. And I was in elementary school in San Diego. Never went to Mission Trails as a kid. I couldn't get there by myself because I was too young to drive. But man. Well, there's another closed out loop. Those kids get to experience Mission Trails. It's amazing. I'm sure they'll have fun. Alright, this is about to do it for me. Car's just up this ramp a little bit. Alright, this is it. I'm back. Back at the trailhead. Well, this will basically do it for my video today. Thanks for coming along, and I'll see you on my next hike. See what I got for next week.